can we incorporate aspects of different religions into our lives? Absolutely. The idea that religions are boxes with 4 walls and a top and a bottom, and we're stuck inside and choose your box, or you're born into your box and that's it. It's not only a fallacy, but it's a tragedy. Because religions are ways of knowing God, ways of connecting to God. And at their core, at their purest, at the deepest level, religions actually are that which connect us to the truth of who we are. And each of them, although God is one, although that truth is one, although soul and spirit is one, they're all different ways of getting into the same stream. Different languages, different books, different types of stories, different ways of worship. But ultimately that stream of truth, of life, of love, of divinity is one. But there's different ways of getting into that. And so yes, the first part is, of course, absolutely you can incorporate different aspects. I know many people who incorporate different aspects of their religion, of different religions. Particularly this tends to happen with people who are born in the West, born into a Judeo-Christian tradition, either as Jewish or as Christian, but who feel very deeply touched and inspired by either the Hindu tradition or the Buddhist tradition, or maybe both. And that's beautiful. And there's no reason that one must give up one in order to have another. You know, I share very frequently actually that on a personal level, for me, I was raised in a Jewish family. I was raised in the Jewish religion and always felt very, very deeply connected to the Jewish people, to the Jewish history, to the culture. But the way that it was spoken about and taught and practiced in the community that I was raised in was much more about the community and the culture than about God. So when I came to India and I stood on the banks of Ganga in a place that was undeniably Hindu, in the midst of a ceremony, the Arti ceremony that is a Hindu ceremony, and I experienced God, it fell right into a place that had been not yet occupied. It wasn't like a Hindu version of God came in and kicked a Jewish version of God out. It was an experience of God without religion, without borders or boundaries. God is infinite. Practitioners of different religions may have different ways that we dress, different types of habits that we use with how we look. We shave, we don't shave, we cut our hair, we don't cut our hair, we wear different colors, different head coverings. But God isn't wearing orange robes or a yarmulke or having a beard or having a bald head. God is infinite. And so, of course, in different traditions, we have different practices. But God is infinite. So for me, that experience of God just filled a place that up until that moment had been not filled. But it didn't kick anything out. And that's been really the same experience that I've heard so many people share who have adopted aspects of particularly Eastern traditions, Hinduism, Buddhism, into their Judeo-Christian life. So I would say, since God is infinite and God is boundless, why try to create borders and boundaries? Why try to say, well, this doesn't fit in my new box? That was my old box. Let's go boxless in our own minds. Doesn't matter what path we walk. Most of us walk the path we were born into. Not all of us. Some of us find a new path. But whatever path we're on, it's about walking that path to the best that we can. And then with regard to the idea of, can I embrace Sanatan Dharma? Of course you can. Sanatan Dharma doesn't mean convert to our box. Sanatan Dharma, the Sanskrit traditional way of referring to what we call Hinduism, literally means an eternal way of life. Sanatan means eternal. Dharma is, well, it's more than a way of life, but for the moment we'll say a way of life. A way of embodying righteousness, integrity, our core being, the truth of who we are. So it's an eternal way of embodying the truth of who we are, of experiencing the truth of who we are, of being the truth of who we are, living the truth of who we are. And that truth, there's not a Hindu way you are, and a Muslim way you are, and a Jewish and Christian way you are. The way you are is just divine. So, yes, by all means, sure, embrace Sanatan Dharma. But don't feel like that means you have to abandon or cut yourself out from wherever you were before. Just allow your experience of the divine to keep expanding and expanding and expanding. One of my favorite stories of this is the story of Ramakrishna Paramhans, who of course was born and raised in a Hindu tradition, had his first powerful experiences in the Kali temple in what's now West Bengal. But after he had those experiences, he thought, well, there's other traditions. And he then started diving into other religions to see, can he experience the same God through this path of Christianity, through this path of Islam? And he found that, yes, of course he could. So as our sages and our mystics and our rishis and our saints tell us, the paths all take you to the same place.